Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Blood, Sweat, and Tears presented by the Fantasyholics Podcast Network. I'm Mr. Oviedo, and with us, as always, is wide receiver one room, Zach Rom. Brian Bruner will be joining us in a little while. Tonight, we'll be talking some NFL preseason news and notes, and after that, we'll be doing a 12-team redraft mock draft. It's draft season. 2 weeks from tonight, actual real life National Football League football will be on.
Yeah, I can't believe that. It seems like it's been such a long off season, but it feels like there should be so much more time left. And yet we're coming into the last week of preseason games. We're getting a lot of interesting news, teams making final adjustments. I can't believe we're almost there. Can't wait for football to finally start.
I must say, this has been one of the better preseasons I've seen. I feel in years past, the preseason football has been like watching the fourth quarter in a UFL blowout. But I think a lot of the games this year, maybe there's more exciting rookies. You've got the Shadir news. Jackson Dart's looking really good again tonight. Got a lot of good offensive rookies. I think this is the best preseason football I can ever remember seeing.
Yeah, I've never really been big into watching preseason football, but it does seem like there has been more buzz based upon how this preseason has gone. I think there's a lot of bigger names, a lot of bigger news stories with Sanders dropping to so late and then doing so well, but still not starting, with Joe Flacco being named as the starter ahead of him. We got some other very interesting news to cover briefly before the mock starts. And I feel like it's also, there's so many larger changes in the NFL where you have some big names going to, say, Chicago and them trying to figure out their offense. You have Aaron Rodgers going to Pittsburgh, but he's not playing in the preseason with any of them, but he got started late. So there's a lot of news stories, and it seems like there's a lot more hype going on with this preseason just because of so many other things that are happening.
Yeah, never a dull moment in the NFL. Got 4 or 5 months ahead.
Yep.
Eagerly awaiting. So yeah, one of the biggest stories of the week would be Anthony Richardson taking a back seat to Daniel Jones in Indianapolis. I was surprised. I really thought the Colts were going to stick it out. They invested a lot into Richardson. I thought that win or lose, no matter how ugly it was, I thought they were going to really see once and for all what they had in Richardson, and I was very surprised to see that Jones got the nod.
Yeah, not as much for me. Kind of when I saw them sign it, I figured he would be starting. In the extent of, let's look at Bryce Young last year, where he started much of his rookie year, and then he got benched for the first half of the season, but then came back and started doing well. That I almost expected that some from Richardson, especially with early on, I believe it was week 1 of the preseason, where there was a blitz that came off his right side. He should have seen it coming, and that's that play he got injured on. He got slammed. It's something it almost seemed like a high school quarterback should have been able to pick up. That he had 2 wide open guys on the right side. The blitz was coming from the right. You need to get the ball out, and he's just so honed in on the left side that nothing, like, he just got rocked. That I feel like he has a lot of work to go with before he actually really succeeds in the NFL. And sitting behind, Daniel Jones isn't the best quarterback, but sitting behind him to at least learn some, I think will be more beneficial than Richardson just getting injured left and right because he can't make the right reads. Like, you need to sit him if you need to actually hope there's something more to come of him.
I remember I was making dinner watching that Ravens Colts game, and the play felt like it was in slow motion. Like the rusher was coming off the edge, and I thought, surely Richardson sees that. Surely Richardson sees it. Surely he's going to throw it away. He's going to get the ball out quick. just spike in the ground, something, and he got flattened. And I thought he might be dead. Anthony Richardson might have died right before my very eyes. Speaking and to your point about sitting and learning, this after we trashed them religiously about a week or so ago, this is a sentence I probably never thought I'd say. I think the Cleveland Browns did a good thing by letting Flacco start and letting Sanders and Gabriel learn the ropes, learn what it's like to be an NFL starting quarterback. The Colts might want to take some lessons from the Browns.
Agreed. I think Flacco is the right choice there. He for fantasy purposes, for them actually doing well and not just coming out and just, I think, pulling a Browns if they started anyone else. I think you sign Flacco, you bring Flacco in, he's there to start. He's there for that veteran presence. He's there for them to learn and figure out who is learning, who is doing well behind him, to then figure out who they need to start or who they want to start after him. Because obviously he's collecting Social Security checks. He's not going to be here for long. So, but you want to start, you want to start him so that everyone else your two rookies can kind of go into it slowly before you figure anything out, which is almost a luxury in the NFL today. You get drafted in the first or second round of the NFL draft as a quarterback. It's almost like you're starting you're a bust. Whereas previously you used to have a couple years before you could start so you could develop, and that's not seen. And I think some of these teams are realizing you need to do that. You need your starter, your future starter to sit for a bit to learn. And the Browns are actually pulling a good move doing that. The Colts might be doing that some. Like I like what they're doing there.
Once upon a time, years and years and years ago, rookies really did not contribute much in fantasy football. It would take 2 or 3 years for them to have an impact. I know people in today's fantasy football instant gratification world would hate to have their 101, their top 5 picks sit on the bench for 2 or 3 years, but guys like Adrian Peterson, Calvin Johnson, these like day one stars have really shifted things. And college football is so much more closer to pro football than it used to be about 15 years ago.
Yeah, agreed. Moving on to some other news before we get started quickly, we'll talk about the I was about to say Redskins. We'll talk about the Commanders' backfield blast from the past.
Another blast.
Where we're seeing a rookie really coming out and about, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, who seems to almost have won the starting job from nowhere, where all of a sudden we're hearing the Commanders wanting to trade Brian Robinson, that he might be a cut candidate if they can't trade or get anything from him. And then Eckler is still old, half a shell of himself. They're talking about maybe punt returning for him, that all of a sudden this late round rookie running back might be starting for the Commanders, where I loved Brian Robinson, but I feel like it was more the coaching staff that was pushing for him to start. And once that coaching staff moved along, it kind of became more of an open backfield than any of us might have thought.
Yeah, I don't know how much longer Robinson has on his rookie deal. I should have looked at that. I think he might have one more year. Why not just churn and burn? Like, let Robinson play out his rookie deal. I don't think he was asking for a raise. They just, in a world where everybody wants a raise, Robinson was just minding his own business, had a split backfield. Washington was looking great. He didn't seem to have a whole lot of competition for touches, and then he's benched.
Well, they can save a couple million in cap cutting him. This is the last year of his rookie contract, and as most rookie contracts, it's that last year where they get a lot of their money. That I think that might be the idea, is to trade him or try and save a little cap. Speaking of which, we're going to change real quick. Mr. Castle Black has just joined us. He had something, some other commitment called work instead of fantasy football. I mean, who does that? That's
bullshit.
Better get that in now. Only got 2 weeks.
He doesn't like us enough. That's what I guess. I don't know. So,
fucking
welcome.
Morgan,
good evening.
Keep showing up.
Yeah. We're just talking a bit about the Commanders' backfield, how Ja'Cory Crosby-Merritt is diving in and Robinson is cut or soon to be traded.
Yeah, pretty raging news across the fantasy space is Bill. They're calling him Bill Merritt. Yeah, Merritt. I mean, it's fairly exciting if it's really just him and Austin Eckler there. And if they see that much in this kid that they're willing to walk Brian Robinson. I just heard you say about his back end loaded rookie contract, and that's probably more the reason they want to get out of it. But I mean, they're obviously seeing some capabilities out of this kid if they think they can run with him and Eckler is just the primary too. So certainly worth drafting. Great for I have a bunch of dynasty shares of him just sitting on taxi squads that I picked up on waivers or was a last round pick. So some free money there, I suppose.
Yeah.
I like it for Eckler, honestly. I have a ton of Eckler shares. I think he's nice, bench running back in like any format.
You could get him off pretty much waivers or close to waivers in many leagues. I couldn't get a third for him in any league. That now, if Robinson moves on, he might be worth getting something.
Mm-hmm.
Then just a couple of other notes for wide receivers before we start our mock in a little over 2 minutes. We have Polk for the Patriots, who has a season-ending injury, is out for the year. My Patriots can't get the wide receiver position right. On the bright side of injury, Chris Godwin just got moved off the PUP. He still might not be ready till September, October, but they're taking him off, meaning he can kind of join team activities as needed, practices. And then we had 2 trades with Vele for Denver being traded to the Saints, and then Sky Moore from the Chiefs being traded to the 49ers, which means he's going to get injured in the next week or two. So check that, put that on your...
What is happening there?
I don't know.
It's crazy. I think it was the fantasy footballers. They said, is Christian McCaffrey like siphoning the health from all these other players so he can stay healthy, like draining them?
Must be. Nuts. I don't know.
The injuries they suffer is just remarkable.
Yeah. They can't keep anything healthy.
And do the Saints even know how to tank? Bad teams shouldn't be trading 2 picks for a 27-year-old second-year player.
What picks were they? Did I hear like a 4th and a 7th or something?
4th and a 7th.
A little too much for me, but he did show some flashes last year. So I mean, he kind of comes in and already fights Shaheed for the wide receiver 2 spot. So
yeah, they're a mess. I don't know. I mean, that Vele will have some like at least best ball value. Probably he's going to have some games just by default. Probably no.
Yep. So we can talk about that some if these players get picked up, but we're under a minute left before starting our mock draft. So we'll slide over to there, talk a little bit about that, what we're doing before we get started in just a minute. So we got a 12-team 1 QB redraft PPR. Diving into the redraft mode as we are running into, as I said, 2 weeks until NFL starts. Figured getting some mock drafts everyone's way. We can get started in just a minute as all of our wonderful members of Fantasy Holics are diving on, where it looks like we're waiting for 1 or 2. I know Tier 1 QB is here, or soon to be here. If he set up auto draft, that means he has a couple people selected in his queue and won't be holding us up. But if it's my guess, it's probably bedtime for kids and he's still wanting to participate in the fun. I'm here at the 2 spot. We got Brian at the 6 and Patrick all the way at the 12, giving you a lot of different positions to see what you might do.
If you're not first, you're last.
Yeah. You picked last, so there you go.
I picked first in the Dynasty startup and love a good redraft. It's fun to do best ball and underdog and dynasty, but a good old redraft like a work redraft, a neighborhood redraft, there's still a place in your heart for those one and done leagues that, bragging rights change from year to year, and you don't have to be stuck in the rut of like a crappy dynasty team that you tread water for 6 years.
Agreed.
I mean, this is the girl that brought us to the dance.
Yeah.
This is what got us into the fantasy. Your work league or whatever the case. Your buddies from high school you started like. It's just this is the one, man. I mean, this is for me. My OG redraft is literally my only redraft league anymore. I'm all dynasty, but I give so much of a shit about this redraft league that like I would. It means more to me than like all my dynasty leagues combined. Honestly, like the same group of dudes and. Yeah, man, I'm excited. I've been doing a ton of mocking with the settings of my redraft league, which a little bit smaller than what we're doing here. What we're doing here, we have quarterback, 2 running back, 3 receiver, 2 flex, and a tight end. My league is just 2 running back, 2 receiver, tight end, 1 flex. So I've been doing a ton of mocks, setting up that way because we draw our numbers, our draft spot out of a hat right when we get to the draft every year. So kind of got to stay fluid and be ready for whatever position.
Yep. It looks like we got everyone here. Let's keep talking, but let's get this started.
Yeah, fired up.
All right, here we go.
And again, thank you for everyone who is here with us in this mock draft, being up late, joining us here. It wouldn't quite be the same if anyone if we had to auto someone. I'm going to take who I would have taken at 101 and thankful that he made. I'm taking Bijan Robinson. Even though it's PPR, Chase is there. I have seen so much value in getting running backs early that I feel like I can solidify my wide receivers later on, that I see more of a running back drop off than wide receiver later on. That I used to never take running backs the first 4 rounds, that I'm seeing that a little more. And I'm happy to take Bijan here.
Yeah, man. So the 3 wide receiver versus 2 wide receiver thing,
that's true.
Heavy with me. Not that I probably would take Bijan, Gibbs right at the top there where they went. But given you have to roll out 3 receivers every week, I do like to get an alpha there, and I think Justin Jefferson is still just that, man. He's going to command a ton of targets. Yep. You watched him shine with freaking Nick Mullins and Sam Darnold. All reports seem to be saying McCarthy looks pretty good. He looked pretty good in the preseason, so no reason to linger any longer there. I will take Jettas as my anchor receiver in the league.
An early McCaffrey pick.
Yeah, he's sneaking up, man. He's becoming trendy to go high again. So not on any of my teams, he won't.
We got a comment. Does Justin Jefferson's hamstring concern you at all with his productivity?
They said he's going to be practicing this week is the latest news I heard. I think he's, a super pro at this point. I don't think he needs any, camp or whatever. It's different than a holdout, an injury. So I don't have any concern there. I mean,
even with a quote unquote rookie quarterback in McCarthy,
yes,
that connection doesn't concern you a little for redraft here, or
not really? Because like I said, Jefferson has just shined with every quarterback they've ever rolled out, mediocre and terrible. I think he's just commands the targets. The dude's as good as any receiver in football. Still barely 26, so I have no fears. I mean, I will say he's 3 to me. I would prefer Lamb to him this year, but, Lamb went, and I wasn't going to take, a Derrick Henry or, Amon-Ra, probably my next 2 players on the board, where I picked there. So, yeah, I'm happy with Jettas at, the 6 point in the 12 team.
Yeah, I would get that. I think it's hard to go wrong with any of these first 6 or 7 picks. They're all kind of choose your flavor in that tier with these top 3 running backs, top 3 wide receivers.
And as the end of the preseason draws near, I got burned pretty bad on this last year by talking about preseason injuries. I think some of it now is just rest up for the regular season. If it was a regular season game, there wouldn't be any talk of Jefferson's hamstring. Hopefully, it's just precautionary and just sitting him out of as much practice as needed.
Yeah, I even forgot about his hamstring injury. That's something that it's not that I'm not paying attention. Something I just kind of passed up, forgot about.
So we had an auto, but I mean, it was Amon-Ra, so we're going with Sleeper's ADP here. So no auto picks really aren't going to ruin anything or mess up what the way the normal draft would end up playing out. So,
and I have a feeling Amon-Ra is probably the pick. You go there anyway,
sure.
ADP wise or not.
Man, there's a couple question marks with health here. Stafford's back at practice. I don't totally trust his back. He's old. I've had the same back injury he has, so I can speak from a little bit of experience. It sucks. It doesn't feel good. If he got the epidural, he might feel great for 6 weeks. He might feel great for 6 months. Like to get at least one running back here. I don't like going 0 running back. It just feels a lot better to have one bell cow back. So I think the safest picks here, Brian Thomas and Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, that's I was going to say, for me, the top 3 there: Brian Thomas, Josh Jacobs, and I would have said Drake London. I get Nico, but to me, there's some concerns there that can't go wrong with any of those.
I like Josh Jacobs for sure. This might be a little bit high for him as far as like his ADP, I suppose, but I have no beef with him. He was so fucking good last year, man. If you had him for your title run, you probably won your title, man. He was just smashing, dude, touchdowns every fucking week. It was a pleasure to have him.
And with Marshawn Lloyd out, he has no competition for touches.
Yeah,
Emmanuel Wilson. We were talking about it last week. It's a miracle I even know who the guy is, but yeah, that's his competition for carries.
Yeah, he has a wide open backfield, and I remember doing mocks early in this offseason, and Jacobs was making it to the mid-3rd round in some of them, and I think that's where ADP and I think people have been realizing he's slowly creeping up boards. I did a 12-team redraft 2 weeks ago, and I got Josh Jacobs in the 3rd round. I had the 103 in a 3rd round reversal, and I still got Josh Jacobs at the 310, and I was ecstatic about that. It was a traditional standard scoring, 0 PPR, and I smashed 3 running backs, and I was so happy for that.
Not bad.
It's a good start.
We have here's an interesting question. We're talking about Packers running back. Someone commenting said Brian Robinson to the Packers. That would be interesting. Now, I've heard Miami, but in reality, they don't need a running back. Brian Robinson to the Packers is not one I thought about, but that would be interesting.
That would suck.
It could happen. I don't think it would damage Jacobs too much. I think it would be a shitty landing spot for Robinson's value. Like there's lots of other backfields that are a little messier that he could go in and actually have some value. I think it would just give would give Josh Jacobs a pretty clear and usable handcuff. Where if that did happen, if I'm drafting Jacobs, I'm definitely getting Robinson. Regardless. And my boy Johnny T gets sniped right in front of me, man. If there wasn't this news with Achan's injury, I'd love to take Achan here. I've been very high on him this offseason. He's growing on me. Took him in some dynasty startups, and I do like him, and I think he's still going to be pretty awesome. But there's rumor he might not even be ready for week 1, and I mean that's not what I want to do for my anchor running back. So I think where I'm going to go, I'm definitely going running back. I'm not starting without a solid workhorse running back. So I'm between Bucky and Kyron. Chase Brown, a little consideration, but I think I think Bucky's just going to continue what he did last year. I'm going with Bucky Irving.
Bucks are looking to have Tristan Wirfs back. That news came out today. I think there was reports when he got hurt that he was lost for the season, and I think there were people bailing on Bucky, but things are looking good in Tampa.
Yeah, they're saying Wirfs and Godwin could both be back and playing by like October, so only missing maybe 3-4 weeks, not even like pup. So that's good. I think with Godwin being out, now McMillan's also hurt for a good chunk of the year with the neck injury. All the more reason that Bucky should get off to a pretty heavy workload, hot start, and jumping out to a good 3-1, 4-0 start in redraft is fucking huge. Gives you a lot of like flexibility on what you can do, moving forward. So I think Bucky should be a hot start.
Yeah, so I'm looking here. I don't really want to go quarterback this early. I really think that there's a quarterback you can go quarterback 6 to almost 15 on the board and get similar scoring, in my opinion. So I'm kind of looking here at, I think, 3 players, but I'm gonna go with PPR starting 3 wide receivers. I'm gonna go with Ladd McConkey. I have a hard time not taking him here with just with the volume I expect him to get. I was hoping Kyron Williams would make his way back around, but again, starting 3 wide receivers, I think I'm okay skipping a running back and going a wide receiver here. This is, again, that awkward thing of, I've noticed around pick 40 or 50 is when the wide receivers start taking up and the running backs start dropping off. That even though it's 3 wide receiver, it's hard to pass on some of these running backs. But really, I think I think Tyreek Hill has lost a little bit of a step in his game. I don't think he's going to be as fast and have that separation. I'm going to go with someone I think is a little bit of a sleeper, but has potential high scoring. I'll go T. Higgins. I think if he can stay healthy, that's an if sometimes, but even so, in PPR, he's scoring you, I think, 16 to 18 points in the final 4 weeks of the season. That if I can get to the playoffs, he is a massive, massive boost to my scoring. That if I can get some older wide receivers later on or something just to kind of fill in the spots, he's someone that can help carry you in the playoffs.
Yeah, there was a tweet a couple days earlier this week. I think there was a report that Higgins was back at practice and then left within 5 minutes. Like, oh, geez.
That hurts.
He's always hurt.
All right, so there's our first quarterback. D-Rock doing it's a little scary when you do the double onesies early. So he's got the nasty Josh Allen, Trey McBride thing, but most of the times when I do that in mocks, I don't like the final result. I just feel way thinned out at the running back and wide receiver position. So definitely looking forward to seeing how that plays out because, man, it is nice, especially when they're like your first 3 picks. It's like stud at 3 different spots. It's pretty cool. But we'll see how that plays out. For me, I started running back, receiver. I'm also in the middle of the board, so I can stay a little more fluid. I don't have to reach on people so much because the draft gets back to me, as fast as anybody's set up here. So I'm not looking like I have to necessarily take one position or the other. I'm going to pass on going quarterback here. I'd love to get, Lamar, Daniels, whatever, but I think this is a little bit early. I think what I'm going to do, since I am going to wait on quarterback a little bit, is take the last game changer for tight end and go George Kittle here. I think that dude easily could be the number 1 tight end. I mean, he was the number 1 tight end in points per game last year. All those injuries in San Fran. I mean, Kittle could legitimately have the biggest season of his career this year. So lock that up. I won't be playing the streaming tight end thing all year. The waste bench spots every week trying to find a tight end. So just lock it up.
Yeah, and in PPR, that's a great thing to go Kittle early, and it really makes you flexible. You got a wide receiver, running back, a tight end. You can really do whatever you want to go from here.
Yep.
Even though it's start 3 wide receiver, you can get those later on. If you don't want to be playing that tight end shuffle, then yeah, that was a great pick.
Yeah, and I won't
Tight
even.
end sucks though.
Yeah, it does, but George Kittle does not. He's when you look at those warp charts, tight end 1, 2, they're up there amongst the players that matter. So once you get down to like tight end 4 and 5 and below, they're just kind of useless and all similar.
Yeah. Well, I almost think we have someone who, unfortunately, timing-wise or being a little late or something, couldn't make it. Usually, Sleeper puts them on auto pick. I think after this this pick here, we throw them on auto or forces pick each time. If you don't mind doing that, Patrick, to keep this moving along. It's unfortunate it happens sometimes, but we still got 11 good members here, and it's hard to really discount. Sleeper ADP is good enough to get an idea for this mock draft. I'm sure we'll vary from it pretty soon, but it looks like you just might have to make his picks for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's Sleeper ADP constantly updates too, so it's definitely pretty legit. If we just auto or force him, with a guy at the top of the board at position of need, his team is going to end up looking like any other.
Yep.
Saw a funny tweet on the Twitter. Instead of getting the next player up when you auto pick, you should just get a random player in the Sleeper database.
That would be interesting.
Sky Moore's coming your way next round.
I mean, listen,
All right.
he might be the wide receiver 2 in San Francisco as soon as tomorrow in practice.
I hope you man, I don't want to go quarterback this early, but Jaden Daniels would be a pretty cool rushing upside. He might be the only runner if the Commanders do get rid of Brian Robinson, and if Austin Eckler is 35 and Bill Krosky Merritt is just a random guy. So it's tempting. A lot of non-sexy receivers here. Gonna hold my nose and pray that Justin Fields can find his one and only target, maybe some Ohio State goodness.
I almost took Garrett Wilson back instead of Higgins, so I think that's a good pick.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'll go Jaden Daniels. I get some mobility, get some rushing from the quarterback.
Yeah, just following along, watching other podcasts are doing mocks a ton this year and seeing even the ADPs with different sites. Like the CBS guys obviously use CDS ADP, and some people draft off of Sleeper, some draft off of ESPN, so they all vary a little bit. But the top end quarterbacks, no matter where you look, are like round 3 picks, even in with expert mocks. So to get Daniels there, he could have been your 312, I guess, but I think that's solid value.
All right, let's see. What does this guy get? Does he get a random?
I would force him next best receiver. Yeah, just based on
that works. Not bad.
Yeah, you can right click and do that. I think auto pick is disabled for this, so you might be able to.
Good. Yeah, we can even kind of figure what makes the most sense for his team. So yeah, and that's definitely Evans is kind of going in the 3rd round in a lot of mocks I've watched. So that's
he's going up there. Now that with Godwin coming back, it might be sooner than people expected. At least it might be Evans drops a little ADP just because of that. But it's hard to bet against Evans until he proves to you not to trust him.
But at this point, he's going to get his 1,000 yards. Like, how could you be the coaching staff for Baker, and be the guy responsible for screwing up the Mike Evans? Mike Evans is going to get his 1,000 yards.
It depends on injury.
Yep. He's good. He's not on the 49ers, so.
So where I got the pretty flexible start here with the 1 running back, 1 receiver, and tight end locked up. So what I'm looking at is the receivers on the board highest up. I got, McLaurin, Adams, DJ Moore, Rice, Sutton. I'm not drafting Rice with the suspension looming.
No.
I don't want Adams' old self with the lingering Stafford injuries. So I do love me some DJ Moore, but I think 4 is definitely a little early for him. And running back, Chuba and Connor are kind of interesting, but I think what I'm going to do is I doubt the guy's making it back to me. So I'm going rookie phenom Travion, my wayward son.
Oh, wow.
And, him up at the wide receiver at the running back too. I don't think it's even really that much of a stretch pick. I think this dude's going to go in round 4 in pretty much all your home leagues. There's just nothing but fire highlights and reports, and Jahmyr Gibbs light, man. I'll take him over. You got to roll the dice. You got to look for some upside and shoot for the stars to separate yourself. And I think Henderson might be a guy that can do that this year.
Yeah, that's true. He's slowly making his way up your boards. He's had a phenomenal preseason. Now, I try to say don't use preseason to really hype up these guys. They're going to do well no matter what. Like, it's hard to not hype up Henderson with how he has done.
Sleeper's ADP said he would be exactly there for my next pick, which probably wasn't.
yeah, I don't trust that then.
That's where I'm just saying, fuck it, I'm going to grab my guy, because if I didn't get him there, I mean, there's certainly some other nice players I could have taken, but I would have been annoyed. And then probably Henderson, Chuba, and Connor all would have come off. And now I'm looking at, something I really don't like is my running back too. So,
yeah. And here's my hope, as I was hoping James Conner would make it back to me.
There you go.
I know he's older. I know he has some injury concerns, but I can hopefully grab his handcuff later on, come round 7 or 8, if I really want to stretch and make sure to secure my running back 2 spot. But there's really a drop off of you're running into rookies or backups or old guys who are injured that I think Connor has a leg up on them a little. From here, I'm probably looking to secure my wide receiver 3 spot. Wide receiver 3s are going to start going quick, starting 3 wide receiver, 2 flex. I really like having probably 1 wide receiver in that flex, if not 2, especially in PPR leagues. And this is where the problem arises. You got Devonta Smith, who is a great wide receiver 2. You got questions about Flowers. I have questions about Worthy, questions about Rice and suspension. I think he's going to be dropping down boards quickly. I think I did this last draft. It might have been a private draft or private mock, or it might have been the dynasty. I'm going to go McLaurin. I think there's going to be no draft concerns or contract concerns whatsoever come beginning of the season. He's going to play. Him and Daniels are going to pop off. It's hard to say that I can't really justify his drop in ADP, that I think he's a steal come the early 5th round.
Yeah, man. I don't mind it. I mean, Terry's awesome. What's kind of odd is they announced that he's off with PUP, so he's whatever injuries he's over with. Still no deal, still not practicing. So I'm not really sure. It's been quiet on the Terry front the last few days, like since they said he's off of PUP. But yeah, I mean, hard to argue. The second he's back at camp, as long as he doesn't get some soft tissue injury from holding out, I mean, he's the star number 1 receiver for a great young quarterback. Barely any threat for targets getting taken away. You got Debo and nothing else. Zach Ertz there. Yeah. So yeah, man, I dig Terry at this value. So where I'm looking, I do like Chuba. Chuba's kind of the last running back on the board that I like and I see as like a stable, can start him every week type of guy. Yep. But I only have the 1 receiver in this 3 receiver league. I really wanted Jameson Williams. I'm getting D-Rock has been picking me off. I like him. He's a very trendy breakout pick. So I think what I want to do here is, as risky it is in 3 wide receivers, I'm going to take Chuba. I'm going to lock up a 3rd running back that I really trust, that I want to have zero beef putting in my lineup in the RB1 or 2 or flex every week. If I suffer an injury to one of my top 2, I'm not just decimated playing waiver wire running back. So it's going to make me thin at receiver, but I I'm good with that. I'm locking in Chuba for my third RB.
Yeah, I think that's smart. And even some of your running backs are good pass catchers. So you're not just picking guys who are just going to carry the ball a lot. You're going to get benefit from that PPR scoring it either way.
Yeah, and I think probably my strategy at this point is I will definitely be waiting on QB. I'll probably be just the last guy or second to last guy to take one of these quarterbacks because I see this as a very huge flat tier. If I end up with Jared Goff, Dak, whatever, that's perfectly fine. So I think my next multiple picks will probably just be the best wide receivers in my my personal ranking. So see what I can end up doing with Jefferson playing a little bit of hero wide receiver with this build.
Yeah, and Ridley's a great pick there. He's someone that he's sneaky because he's low in ADP when he really shouldn't be.
Yeah, he gets faded a little bit in Dynasty for sure because of his age, but in redraft, me with my heavy Dynasty mindset, I always have to really work hard to push that shit to the back burner when I'm looking at redraft because this is it. This is 1 year, and I know in my personal redraft league, we barely have any fucking trades. Everybody's paranoid that they're going to get the best of somebody else. So trades never happen. So you really do win just by your draft, and being savvy with the waiver wire is almost always what wins you in my league. So I got to remember dudes like Connor, dudes like Ridley that get frowned upon a little in Dynasty. They are welcome on my redraft team because I'm just looking at these 17 weeks.
What you think here, Patrick? Too early for quarterback, too early for tight end. Got a couple of. I'm a big Zay Flowers guy, but I want to diversify a little bit, get a little different draft strategy, try to get different players in a different draft spot. A lot of question marks, like Brian said, not a lot of true workhorses left. The only workhorse I think that is left on the board is Tony Pollard. With no Tajay Spears for a bit,
yeah.
Pollard has played pretty well. I think he had the most yards before or yards after contact. I think these yards before contact last season. I think the Titans are going to be a lot better than people expect, at least a little bit more fun to watch. So I'll take Pollard there and not digging. I don't know if I should go receiver or running back. Both have pros or cons. Best receivers are Flowers and Worthy, and would have loved Calvin Ridley here. I will go Worthy.
He's a great boomer bust wide receiver, and when you can start 4 or 5, you really want 1 or 2 that can go off a week to win it to you. And Worthy's one that's, he was falling a little, and that's a great pick.
Can you highlight this ghost team that we're filling up?
Sure.
Yeah.
Or Patrick Over's got control of the board there just to see what they're working with. We got
no running back. Should we?
Okay, you got to
give
him a running back. I mean, I guess of what's on the board, Monty, Pacheco, Jones are the top 3 in ADP. I mean, I'd say maybe just give him Monty the highest rated one, just to keep it accurate.
Keep it kosher.
Yeah.
All right, congratulations, you have it, David Monkey.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, I like the Worthy pick. Worthy and Flowers were definitely the top 2 guys in my wide receiver queue that I was looking at for my next pick here. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, I'll definitely be just grabbing my remainder of my wide receiver room here with my next couple picks.
Maybe we'll get 5,000 yard Patty Mahomes, or maybe we'll get 3,800 yard Patty Mahomes. Maybe we'll just be like, chuck it, have fun, run and gun, or just boring ass conservative. Here's Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco 20 times a game and rely on some good defense. Come on, Andy. Come on, Andy Reid.
Even worse, Kareem Hunt, 2 yards in a cloud of dust up the middle a bunch of times.
Yeah. I was trying to find it and I couldn't quite. I know you were saying, Brian, that, in your redraft league, people don't really trade as you win by your draft. And I was trying to find it. It was about 3 or 4 seasons ago, my one redraft league. I started 0-5. And I made so many trades, so many waivers. I think I had over 50 waiver acquisitions. I think out of the 25 trades in the league, something like that, only one wasn't with me because I started 0-5. I needed to do something. And I came back and won that year. I just barely snuck into the playoffs. I won the championship starting 0-5. And it was because I just made so many trades. I slowly but surely, and I was trying to find the exact amount because it's the same thing. If I'm not the one initiating trades in that league, most of the time it's very, very quiet.
I mean, I bring it up. We do an in-person draft every year. It's Saturday the 30th this year, so I'll be having it soon. But I mean, I bring it up every year. I'm like, guys, let's fucking trade more. Let's get in the it's ESPN, so they don't have a cool chat room the way that Sleeper does. But I'm just like, we have a group text message feed. I'm like, dude, guys, let's talk trades. I'll send trades out, but they either just get ignored or rejected because everybody thinks I know more than they do, or I got some fucking hot tip or some bullshit. So it's like, it's just you win at the draft and with free agency. I didn't want to cut you off, so I was looking at
go ahead.
Do here. Pretty easy pick for me here. I'm going Travis Hunter for my wide receiver too. I think he'll see plenty of volume. I think every time we've talked about Hunter, you've mentioned that you kind of see him as a guy that's going to be a more, not so much a boom wide receiver, but a more stable, PPR, exactly what you're looking for your wide receiver too. Just a nice stable guy behind Jefferson. So
I was going to take him if you didn't.
Yeah, pretty happy to get him to
if he made it to me.
Jet is there.
Yeah, no, I like that pick. Yeah. And we're getting into this interesting spot where you really can't be reaching for anyone at this point. You're getting a giant flat tier of players of kind of choosing your flavor is kind of what we've been dubbing it, calling it, of looking at it. You got Kelsey coming up. You got Hawkinson for tight ends, Mark Andrews, but you got a lot of wide receivers in Odunze, Addison, Olave coming up. When this awkward tier of running backs, Pacheco, Mixon, Aaron Jones, Judkins, like it's so much awkwardness and questions between so many of them. It's who do you really want? Or quarterbacks, you got Bo Nix coming up. Are you going to secure your quarterback spot? What you're going to do here, which makes this pick a little more interesting for me. Part of me is I'm looking at the next tier down of what I might expect in my next 2 picks to really figure out what might be available then to see here, just because of the awkwardness of this. And really, when I get down there, I'm looking at quarterbacks. So I'm shying away from quarterbacks here. I don't trust Mixon right now with the injury. Pacheco's hard to trust here. Aaron Jones, similar. It's so awkward. With it being my 4th wide receiver, I think I'm okay doing this. I expect him to take a leap this year, and I'm taking Odunze. I think if this was my wide receiver 2 spot, I'd be looking somewhere else. But with it being my wide receiver 4, I think Odunze is really going to be taking a tier up. He's not going to be wide receiver 50. I think he's going to be probably closer to the mid-20s. Then I'm okay with that, having that in my flex spot. I was going to look at Igbuka coming up if he made it, but unfortunately he got picked, and same with Pacheco. Again, it's an awkward spot. Brian Robinson is up here in this in this ADP still.
Bill Cross, it's up there too, buddy. Just
I could. I'm not gonna do that just yet. I'm seeing a lot of potential running backs and quarterbacks around my next pick potentially, so I'm almost looking at securing my next wide receiver. I'm going to go with someone who I think is potentially the top wide receiver their team, and who has done well. A lot of times when you're looking at the top wide receiver team this late in the redraft, you're wanting to shy away from it, like my Patriots. But I think Myers has been a very sneaky person. That he's so hard to pass up on. Second flex spots. If I need to move McLaurin down because of contract issues, Myers might be commanding the second amount of targets in Las Vegas this year. That behind Bowers, that has some merit.
I drafted him in our Dynasty mock last week when we were talking about our top 50 receivers there a few weeks back. I brought up that he's listed as wide receiver 49 on Keep Trade Cut, but he finished as fucking wide receiver 19 last year. 19.
Yeah.
Well inside the top 24. So, yeah, Jacoby Myers is the least sexy but most responsible pick you can make in like any format.
Winning is sexy, though.
Winning is sexy. Yeah.
Yes. That is a wonderful way of putting it, is people don't think of taking the receiving threat on the Raiders, that it's almost like you feel bad taking that pick, but he's done quite well recently, that it's, again, hard to pass up on such a player.
Agreed.
Like, yeah, looking at PPR, he's finished in the top 30 the last 4 years. Twice with New England, twice with Las Vegas of 30, 28, 24, and 19. That's hard to pass up on at this point in the draft, that someone who's that consistent.
Wide receiver, garbage time. If it's the Raiders have a lot of garbage time. Let's be honest.
We'll probably be playing catch up a little bit.
Yep.
So I'm very happy to not have gotten sniped on this guy here. Was far and clear away my target. I almost took him instead of Travis Hunter, just based on his potential role and all the freaking injuries there. But Tricky Ricky Pearsall, man, that's just an easy smash for my third wide receiver. Again, like Hunter, I mean, I think the dude just by default is going to be a safe PPR option, barring injury. There's nobody there. Jennings is like holding in / dealing with injuries. The whole rest of the receiver core, even these guys like Cowing and stuff, are all hurt. The running backs are all hurt. I mean, I have the entire San Francisco receiving game here, sans Christian McCaffrey, but between Kittle and Pearson.
It's okay. You can have a pet name for him. It's all right.
Kitty. It's my kitty.
Yeah. I don't trust the 49ers keeping anyone healthy right now.
Yeah.
I understand that pick. I was looking at him too some instead of Myers. If Myers went before and such, I think it's hard to pass up on him. That he's probably second in targets expected this year, right behind Kittle.
All right.
And Purdy again in that quarterback room he's someone that isn't a sexy pick, but is going to be a consistent pick.
Rock solid. I mean, the dude, he's per game, he's like a top 6 or 7 quarterback since entering the league, and fantasy wise.
We need to give this guy another running back.
Yeah,
Mixon, Judkins,
Hero RBing with David.
Give him
not Robinson, but anyone else.
Yeah, who's there?
All right, let's go Mixon.
Probably Tracy, maybe. He makes sense. Mixon,
Yep.
Mixon's dealing with the injury, but once he's back, he's just instantly the guy again there.
Yeah.
I don't think we're looking at some crazy long-term injury for Mixon either. He might be out. They didn't put him on the PUP yet, so you got to figure at this point they assume he can be back within 4 games, or they would have already moved him to the PUP for the roster spot.
Yeah, agreed. That's a very good point. Is Mixon is expected to probably play in the first few weeks if he's not on the PUP.
Yep.
I'm back to back. Do I go quarterback, tight end? I mean,
what are you?
don't need it.
What are you missing in your starting lineup at this point?
No tight end. That's all I don't have at the moment.
Tight end and 2 flex you got available.
Oh, you have 2 flexes. Your flexes are still open.
I could wait a bit on tight end. The only one. All right, I'm convinced he's so good at football. I don't think Bigsby or Tootin or anything. Well, this one might bite me. I'm gonna take ETN. One more chance. One more chance. If he's bad this season, then I'll take that L, and I guess I'll invest more in Tootin or Bigsby going forward.
That's what everyone says about Kyle Pitts. Just one more chance. Just one more year.
The Kyle Pitts of running backs. That sucks. That's gonna make me question on taking ETN at all the rest of the year.
You're welcome.
This gets really unsexy the rest of the way. Lots of question marks. This might just be time to reach on a player you like, or
yeah.
I mean, being at the far end, you'd have to reach. You pretty much kind of have to reach if there's a guy that you're eyeballing.
Yep.
Let's go. Jawan Jennings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. He's another guy that there was more talk of him in the last few weeks, but since then there really hasn't been much. Like, I don't think he's dealing with some major injury, but he's got some lingering injury, and he's doing the hold-in thing. He still wants like the contract or the trade, but yeah, I mean, Jennings is at this point, a 3-receiver league, 2 flexes. He's definitely a guy you want to have on your team.
Yeah,
we want
most definitely
another running back for this team, or does he have enough for that?
He's pretty balanced. He's got quarterback, tight end, 3 receiver, 2. Yeah, so I mean, we're just looking at flex spots. I mean, with what's on the board, I'd say, I mean, it's tough to give him Godwin, maybe like Shakir, Tracy, Jalen Warren, one of those guys.
Yeah, any of those are good.
I don't think anybody would actually be taking Brian Robinson or Godwin, even though they're, here.
Godwin potentially, since he's coming off sooner than expected.
Yeah,
but
he's
really
getting value, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you could give him Godwin and make our decisions and lives a lot easier, maybe.
Yeah.
All right. Well, shit, he already had Evans, though.
Good point. Yeah, definitely not Godwin. He's got Evans.
Yeah. With how injury prone both are, more than likely one will be playing, one won't be each week, and they'll be good. Or if you know your league and it's a trade heavy league, you know that there's going to be merit and value taking Godwin here, and he's fallen a little too far. That's okay. Maybe you trade Evans and get value from him elsewhere. And it's one of those, you need to adapt as the draft goes along. That if it's not going your way, okay, I can take value in Godwin here and trade Evans and fill in these spots earlier that I need to, or vice versa. That it's a value pick there that you can work with depending on your league.
He also has Rice, and a lot of talk is that Rice might play the first 4 games, and then he has this hearing thing or whatever after week 4, and then that's when a suspension could kick in. So it's almost like you could play that where, boom, you're using Rice for the first 4 weeks, and then when you have to sit him, Godwin's back that same week. So that actually is kind of a strategy to consider.
Yeah, that too.
And if you're doing a redraft league, might have a couple people that have been drinking all day, and they might forget who they have. So you might have someone making bad decisions at this point in the draft.
It's possible. I would probably be the most likely to be guilty of drinking all day, but I was at work up until recently, so this is only my first beer, sadly. So I won't be making any of those decisions. Looking at the receivers, there's not a ton that I like. I know I said I was going to just pepper receiver from here on out because I only have the 3 now with Jettas and Hunter and Pearsall, but I'm not really feeling a ton of those guys. Looking at running back, it ain't much prettier. Scatabo. Tracy was actually in probably top of my queue, so he got sniped in front of me. Got 20 seconds here. Man. I think I'm just going to take the receiver that I like the most on the board right now, and that is Will Shakir. I think he's another guy that's just an absolute safety blanket that you can throw in. He'll be in one of my flex spots or covering a receiver bye week or injury for me. I'm good with him in his 11 to 12 PPR points a week, and give me a little more depth in my thinnish wide receiver room that I'm building here.
Yeah, no, I like that. You're going with people to fill out your wide receiver room that are going to have volume. Pearsall will have volume. Shakir will have volume. So you're looking at those players knowing that, okay, well, it's really 3 wide receiver. I waited on it. You're getting those guys that have that potential later on in the draft instead of getting those higher ones early. It's the right picks that you're taking here, wide receiver wise.
Yeah, those could be receiver ones. So
yeah. This is we're talking a little bit about that Rice Godwin. An interesting comment came up of similar to Adrian Peterson, if you remember, while they're trying to figure out punishment, he got put on the commissioner's exempt list. Is that a possibility for Rice, do you think?
I haven't heard that get brought up amongst all the different content that I absorb in on a daily basis, but the thing that I've just heard over and over again in different ways is just that no one really knows. It could be, they have this week 4-ish type of hearing thing, and then the judge that's listening to it has a history of weighing in on these decisions and waiting like weeks, and then so you might have before putting her judgment down, and then you might be in week 8 and then you lose Rashee Rice for the rest of the season. Or they might come to some plea agreement where he just takes a 4 or 5 game right off the bat and you don't have him until week 5. So it's just super gray area, man. It's tough. None of us know. The Chiefs don't know. None of the major pods and news sources out there know anything. So it's just risky. I haven't heard the commissioner exempt list brought up for Rice specifically though. So I don't think that would happen, but I guess it's possible.
See, so for me, I took Charbonnet. I think he's a great 1-2 punch, more a 1B running back there. I think him coming off my bench is good. Looking here, I see a big tier of quarterbacks that could be going that. I'm looking at what I'm taking my next picks. I'm looking at starting to take some backups. Maybe it's hard not to go quarterback here just to secure that position. But again, I think wide receiver with the three wide receiver PPR is hard to pass up here. Normally I wouldn't have taken this guy at this point, but I'm going to take him here with the news. I'm taking Josh Downs. For me, Daniel Jones is the best news that could come out for the wide receivers for the Colts. And I think while he's not the best quarterback, he can get the ball to the right guys. And I think Josh Downs, I think Pittman you're getting at kind of a discount because they got dropped down, seeing those games with Richardson, that I think there's some talent with Downs that if I can slide him in during my bye week and he has that potential upside, I'm happy with that.
People still hate them some Daniel Jones. They don't look at the statistics. They don't look at Jones is bad, but he's decent enough for fantasy. The Colts will be trailing. Jones can get some yards with his legs. I like all the Colts receivers at a discount.
Yeah. It's one of those where he's not a franchise quarterback. He's not going to be a consistent quarterback to rely on. So people are saying he's not good for fantasy. He's good for fantasy. He's good for He's a good backup quarterback. He's good for your wide receivers there. Just because he's not a permanent real life quarterback solution does not mean he can't do good for your fantasy team.
He was quarterback 9 in 2022.
Yeah.
9.
Yeah, man. So I'm looking at a lot of running backs and receivers that don't do anything for me. I do have my entire starting lineup filled out, minus the quarterback, which I'm, punting, so to speak. So I'm really just torn between running back and receiver, but I honestly just don't really like almost any of these guys. I think what I want to do is grab another running back here that I think might be maybe the last one on the board that has like a solid week to week role that can give you some points, and that's J.K. Dobbins. I don't think they're going to make R.J. Harvey just some bell cow. Sean Payton's always utilized pretty much a 2 running back system. Harvey hasn't really done anything super awesome in the preseason or camp that said made him look like, oh yeah, he's just locked in. So I'm gonna go J.K. Dobbins, not the sexiest pick, but for my top of my bench and yet another running back to have there to cover bye weeks and injuries in such a volatile position, I'll take him over what was on the board at receiver.
Yeah, I definitely get that. Now we're down to our
Auto Boy. What does Auto Boy get?
Auto Boy. It's like Bubble Boy, but shittier. Let's see.
Honestly, another running back at this point. Give him. I'd be looking at Scatterboo there or Stevenson maybe.
Scatterboo was shit. I got Purdy stolen from me. Yeah, Scatterboo was honestly the guy I was kind of torn between with him and Dobbins. I think he's back off of whatever injury he was dealing with. All reports sound like Tracy's the guy there at least to start. But I mean, Scatterboo should definitely get some run and have a chance to take that backfield over.
Yeah,
it was a fun name, good hype during the draft process and last year.
No, I like that. And again, kind of faded running back. Some going Montgomery, Mixon, taking someone who has that upside as that potential third. Either that or you're just looking at the waiver wire for your bye weeks and such. That's Scatterboo's a good pick there.
All right, what we got? Well, I might go
Purdy and Mayfield ahead of Patrick Mahomes, which is definitely not the way that ADP rolls out. But I mean, given the last couple of years of Mahomes, it's hard to say that he should go in front of those two.
Yeah, agreed. He's a great real life quarterback, but the Chiefs have really invested in the defense. That the Chiefs scored under 30 points all the games last year, and so for the sake of fantasy, Mahomes is slowly fading down because of that.
All right, what am I gonna do here? I need could wait on. It's pretty late. I don't think he's gonna sit out the whole year. It would be Rob. Maybe he goes to a tremendous situation and he's an awesome buy low, or he could just end up in a committee where he's the 5th rotational back, and that sucks. But this late, it's a nice gamble.
Sure.
And I like Loveland here. The Bears offense looked really. It was just preseason, but man, Ben Johnson emptied his clip on that game. The Bears looked amazing.
They really did.
That could be a sign of things to come. Everybody looked good. The whole offense. Yeah, that's torn here between Loveland and Kincaid. I need some Josh Allen targets on Kincaid there.
I think Kincaid's a great buy low. Like when you're looking at his stats, Josh Allen couldn't accurately get him the ball this last year, and that was the main statistical difference between how good his rookie year and second year was. That I think Josh Allen will really kind of pick that up, and Kincaid will be a good pick.
And what does this guy get? He's got a lot of receivers.
Pickens. You could go Jaden Blue as another backup running back that could potentially lead the backfield. You go Tajay Spears, Bigsby. I think any of those are good picks depending on your flavor as to who you think will actually get some reps.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stevenson too.
Oh, Stevenson it is.
Now, my question for you, you said Brian Robinson, if he lands in a perfect spot, will be a great pick. What is the where's the perfect spot that Brian Robinson can land to get a bunch of reps? It's an interesting question to think about, who or where he could go to get a bunch of reps. Not to bring this up during your pick, Brian, on purpose, but
oh no, you're good, man. I'm just scouring this gross group of running backs and wide receivers here.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not sure where the perfect spot for him is, but
through process of elimination, the 49ers.
they could use
like,
yes.
Although McCaffrey and Robinson, that could be it. In the can't go wrong with the Kyle Shanahan running back. Like they make Isaac Guerrero and Jeff Wilson relevant. I think Robinson to the 49ers, that'd be pretty great if we were playing this mock out.
So of what's on the board here, I'm looking. I think that the one guy that kind of stands out the most for me, and especially because he's in an alternate role for me, is Jaden Reed. So I'm going to go Jaden Reed here. Get another wide receiver.
I almost went Reed instead of Downs.
Yeah, I think that's pretty solid for my 5th wide receiver. Not mad about that. Like I said, I'm not going to have to start him week to week necessarily. So, hopefully I picked the right week where he has a boom and the Packers decide to give him more than 40% of snaps.
Yeah, if he can actually catch the ball for once.
Yeah, he's pretty good with the drops. So that's the thing. But with what was there, he's pretty clearly the best receiver on the board for me there.
Yeah, he's got that great boomer bust, and again, that's what you're going for wide receivers this late. That's the pick. After my next pick, I'll give our viewers a good look at the board as to who's left. I've been trying to show everyone's teams. You'll be able to see that, see why people are picking, what their teams are. But I'll kind of give a preview now that we're 2/3 of the way through to see what slim pickings we're talking about. Because really it's, the top of ADP right now is Jared Goff, Najee Harris, Justin Herbert, Jonnu Smith, Loveland, Prescott, Pitts. You're dealing with a lot of potentials that it's what you want to fill your bench spots with. And it's difficult to figure out what you want to do with that. And for me, I'm going to reach here, but that's because of how my team is. I'm okay with whatever. There's 3 or 4 people at the minimum that I want, so I'm going to reach for the one that I think my team needs and go from there. It's a long reach, but I'm going with Trey Benson. I think with going James Conner, I need to ensure I have the handcuff there. I'm not huge on handcuffs, but with a player like James Conner who has not played a full season in his career, maybe I might be making that up, but he's always injured. That I think I need that backup on my team just in case that if he gets injured, I'm starting Sharb, who may or may not be getting a bunch. I want Benson to slide into that if I need him. And I don't want to risk missing him later on or getting sniped. Especially with Braylon Allen already going, I'm seeing those handcuffs are going already. I needed to secure that.
Yeah, Benson's definitely one of the premier clear-cut handcuffs at this point. Solid college prospect. He's easily the next guy up. So yeah, that's not a bad pick whatsoever.
Yeah. And here I am sitting with no quarterback, no tight end. I think I am the last person to take a tight end at this point. And it's you and me, Brian, who has not picked a quarterback.
Yep.
Big
flat tier at both positions, man.
Exactly. And that's where I'm going to have to go. I feel like I have to go one of those here, and then I'm going to pick up the next on the turnaround. And I think I'm going to end up going tight end here because I think the quarterback tier of you're looking at Goff, Herbert, Prescott, Stroud, Caleb Williams, May, Fields, Love, Lawrence, Penix. There's such a wide tier of quarterbacks. The tight end is a little smaller. Top tight ends are Jonnu Smith, Loveland, Pitts, Ferguson, Goddard. You're running into older, injured guys. I think I need to secure my tight end. Again, I think I'm the only one who hasn't taken one. And I'm going to take a page out of what you were saying, Patrick. I think Loveland was looking amazing after how, it's a preseason game. I don't even know if the Bills were playing their starting defenders, but he did look great. That I think he'll be consistent enough. And then to give those watching an idea of what players are left, I'll slowly scroll through. But again, you're looking at slim pickings here of who you got, what you can do. You're running into kickers and defenders coming up to your top ADP soon. Looking at Ferguson, Goddard. You're looking at wide receiver 3s, Marvin Mims, Luther Burden. Burden going in the 11th seems a little late to me, I think. Or is that just me having that dynasty mindset?
A little bit of both.
Yeah, huge tier of kickers and defenders from ADP. We're looking at 3.5 or 4.5 more rounds, going 15 rounds total.
I hate that feeling like when you're looking and you're scanning and it feels like a dead zone. You don't like anybody, and you kind of mail a pick or two in, and then you get further down like, oh, he was available. Oh, I forgot about it. We're in like that range now where there's a Burden, Rashad Bateman, Isaac Guerrero. There's still some. Oh, that's right. He's still there. Damn it.
So where I'm at with my 30 seconds on the clock here. So where I'm at with my pick, I have my entire starting roster filled out minus quarterback. I've got a couple bench spots filled. I've got Jaden Reed and Dobbins on my bench, so I have a balanced bench, so to speak. What I'm looking at on the board, again, quarterback, I'm fine waiting. So what I'm going to do here is take Austin Eckler, because I think with all this B-Rob news, Eckler is a mighty fine bench running back to have. He will have a role. He'll be a nice safety blanket for Jaden Daniels. And, man, I find myself drafting a lot of late Austin Eckler this year.
Yeah, just because of me talking, we missed Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt was picked at the 10-12, just 6 picks.
Look at that.
We see both. We saw all three running backs for the Commanders picked within 2 rounds here.
Yep. And then
and that means that they're
Jay pulled the trigger on a second quarterback. He has Jalen Hurts, and he still drafted Drake May. So I think that's the first team that took 2 quarterbacks.
Yep.
Wouldn't assume it would be one that took a stud top 5 quarterback that took one, but he did regardless, and I see it. May has lots of hype. He's a huge favorite to be a big breakout, and I can see why he did it.
Yeah, I think we've hit running back here for him a few times. You could go Bigsby again. You could, I think you wait on a backup tight end if you take one. I think Mims, Bigsby, Burden are all strong picks. Bateman, Guerrero. There's so many potentials. Again, at this point in the draft, you're looking at potentials. Guys with upside that if after 2 or 3 weeks they don't do anything, you're shifting them off your bench for waivers for something else. That you don't want to hold on to these guys too long if they're not showing much in the first, not the first week, even the first 2 weeks. Really around week 4 is when you're trying to shift these guys out.
He's seeing some camp news. He's looking good. He's going to get Burden. Burden's probably going to go a little bit higher in most drafts.
It really depends. He's not running with the ones. I think that's part of the drop. Is you look at the Bears ones who ran the first 2 series this preseason game, and Burden didn't get a snap with them. He looked great. He looked great, but he wasn't running with the ones. We'll see this next week. Supposedly the Bears ones are playing a little longer this next week. I see next week tomorrow. We'll see if Burden can slide in, but with injuries and a little late signing on the contract, he's a little late getting into the flow that he's not running with the ones yet.
All right. Want to try to have different strategies and get a little bit of a different player, different shares, diversify. It is just a mock draft, but good practice coming up. I like Ray Davis. I think there's no way Cook's going to score 16 touchdowns again. I think I say that every show, but I'm going to speak it into existence. Ray Davis is going to be a big deal. And let's go Bateman again for a potential 1A. Now he's a 2, but very easily could be a 1A at this late.
Bateman is sneaky with how many points he can score you. He's got a good floor that in deeper leagues you can look at starting him flex or he's a great bye week player. People write him off sooner than they should.
It really seemed like he figured something out last year.
Yeah,
he looked different, more consistent, ran routes better hands. It might be like a post-hype sleeper here.
Yeah.
Bateman was an excellent college receiver, first-round draft pick. They just gave him a bag. He's in their plan.
Oh, don't give him the bag. They gave Kenny Golladay the bag too, and he just vanished.
They didn't give him a Kenny Golladay size bag. They gave him like a we appreciate you. We don't want you to go test free agency size bag.
Yep.
All right, so Baishal rootin' tootin' off the board.
Bo's a big Jags fan.
Yeah, you got the tag Baishal.
And I don't blame him for doing that.
Yeah, not bad.
If you can get him, he's got the running back 1B at worst for Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be looking at Gurendo's still there. You got Ford, depending on how you like the Browns backfield.
Mims is still there.
Yeah, Mims is still there. Sampson, again, depending on how you like the Browns backfield. Besh for the Raiders. There's so many kickers and defenders. You almost have to sort by flex specifically for ADP to get rid of those, and that's your ADP because if you start looking through, you see a stack of 10 kickers and 10 defenders that ADP is really skewed almost around this point for your flex players that you could look at someone who's 25 picks lower on ADP, but kickers and defenders in between makes it really 5.
I'll give him Guerendo. The 49ers backup has to go soon.
Yep, I'm sure the McCaffrey manager would prefer you didn't give him Guerendo, but he's going to go around this point in drafts.
Yep. Yeah. Now, is now when you're going to be looking at quarterback, Brian, with your team kind of now? Are you waiting another couple rounds? What's your thought filling out your roster outside of quarterback?
The way the rosters are looking, I've got 4 picks left. I have 1 bench spot and an open QB spot, and then I'm definitely not taking kicker and defense until my final 2 picks. So, I mean, looking at that with quarterback, even if you're obviously taking at least 1. Even if somebody else here decides to take a second quarterback, I'm looking at an entire page of my tablet of quarterbacks that I don't really mind, rolling out as my QB. So I'm looking at the running backs and receivers and even tight ends, barring I wouldn't necessarily need to draft a backup one if I have Kittle, but never a terrible thing to have a decent bye week fill in, injury fill in. So I'm looking there's some value at tight end there. Running backs, I'm looking at either other people's handcuffs or a cuff to one of my primary three. That's probably where I'll end up going. Receiver, I think I'm content with what I have, so I don't think I need to pull the trigger on one of these mid-type receivers here. So I'm up. Do I like any of these quarterbacks so much more than the others that I have to take one before it gets back to me here? Goff, Herbert, Prescott, Stroud, Caleb,
Daniel Jones, Tyler
Fields,
Shuck.
Shuck. You got Shuck there. You got Anthony Richardson still on the board.
Can't believe that.
I think the guy that now you know what, I like these quarterbacks all in a similar range. So I think what I'm going to do is pull the trigger on Rico Dowdle, who's of the primary running backs I have. Rashad White already got taken. I think Sean Tucker's a guy that'll probably be on waivers if I wanted to pick him up later. Someone already took Ramondre, who would be the clear other piece in the New England backfield. So Dowdle and Chuba, I'll lock in that Panther running back any given week there. And now I will see what I end up with quarterback on my next pick.
Yeah, I get that. That's with how my draft went. I'm looking at running back for my pick here. I'm probably taking running back before going quarterback. Excuse me. And there's a couple I'm keeping my eye out on right now that I think have potential to actually be useful. I mean, you got Ollie Gordon still here with the A-chain injury. Is he going to be valuable to have in case A-chain's injury actually lasts? Woody Marks was someone I was really looking at that, again, if Mixon's out, Chubb hasn't been looking himself. I think for me, an underrated guy that really did well last year, Kareem Hunt. I think Pacheco,
still kicking.
Yeah, somehow he's still kicking. And if he's kicking more than Pacheco, what we've seen is the Chiefs are not afraid to really start the running back who is doing well. We saw that with Pacheco versus he did so little. I'm completely blanking his name. The first round running back they drafted.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. He did nothing, and they had no problem moving to Pacheco because Pacheco was producing. That's the same thing here. If Pacheco's injury really holds him back and Hunt produces, it's Hunt's game. And I'm going to be happy to take Justin Herbert here. I have him ranked higher in Dynasty just because of his age. I think he's going to last longer, but I think I take Herbert ahead of 5 or 6 quarterbacks already taken. That I think we've seen the Chargers offense starting to pick up in the offseason or preseason already. I think Herbert's a good pick here. And if not, there's plenty I can pick off waivers or drop someone to pick up if Herbert just isn't doing well.
It's a great pick in round 13. Wish I would have waited a little more.
So we're kind of at this point where we're I'll let you pick, Brian, and then finish my thought.
So kind of as I expected, I'm looking at all of these quarterbacks, minus Herbert, who you took. I would have been very torn between Herbert and Dak. I think it just makes it a little bit easier for me to just pull the trigger on Dak. They don't have a fucking running game. Again, We've got Miles Sanders and Javonte Williams and a hobbled rookie, Jaden Blue. They bring in Pickens. They've got a healthy Lamb. They've got Jake Ferguson, a solid pass-catching tight end. I think their defense isn't that good. I Cowboys are just going to end up being in a lot of shootouts and airing the ball out. And pretty much every year that Dak didn't lose to injury, he's ended up being like a top 7 or higher quarterback. So all the more reason why I feel like waiting on quarterback is just so clutch this year, because I'm now putting Dak Prescott into a lineup full of dudes that I like, and I didn't have to draft a quarterback until my third to last pick. And even if Dak was gone, I wouldn't be that devastated because I could still pull the trigger on freaking Stroud, Caleb Williams, Fields, Jordan Love. Could have went McCarthy or Trevor Lawrence to stack with one of my top 2 receivers. Like, it's just, in single quarterback, man, this is a hell of a year to wait on quarterback for sure.
Yep. And yeah, we can cover this now, or we can do it right after the draft. I asked this last time, we're at this kind of dead spot of we're picking fillers, or we're soon picking kickers and defenders. What's one other team besides yours that you like what they've done so far in this draft that you'd say, yeah, I'd swap teams with you, or I like what you did there?
So what I'd like to do, and I didn't really look since the start of the draft here, is who was it? It was D-Rock that went Trey McBride, Josh Allen with picks 2 and 3, and I want to say let's see how the rest of their squad looks. So he definitely went hero RB. You know, he's got Saquon,
Yes.
but then he's got, you know, Javonte and Chubb backing him up. That's fucking scary. I mean, it can work. Certainly can work. You know, you play the waivers right. Javonte ends up working out. Saquon stays healthy. It can work. Did a big run of receivers kind of after round 4 there. So Devontae Adams, Jameson Williams, Jalen Waddle, Jordan Addison, who's down for a couple games, Pittman, Ayuk, who's probably down for a couple games, Pat Bryant, nice little waiver, you know, little flyer at the end there.
Yeah.
Like I said to start, though, I don't really like that team because it's too thin at the skill spots. You know, Barkley, McBride, Allen can certainly carry it, but yeah, that's not how like I would necessarily want to build. I think he did as good of a job as he can or could after taking the skill guys early there, but yeah, that's not my favorite.
Yeah, it's a team that you're hoping that McBride makes up for the points of your lower end running back 2 for sure.
Right.
I think for me, there's 2 that stick out, but I really like the 10 spot. I think it's Ocho Grego.
Yep.
Going strong wide receiver early. I think Swift is going to do well in Chicago with how their offense has turned to. Flowers, Debo, Kupp. I think there's some merit to that strong core in the first 5 picks, and then some potential upside there.
Yeah, it's solid. I was looking at that. Cook, Hall, Swift is a nice running back room after getting like 2 alphas with Neighbors and Nico to start. I do like that.
Let's get that guy Samson.
Number 1's got a great start too. I mean, the Chase Barrow stack, Chase Brown and Kyron at running back 1 and 2. Still have Tet Nabuka as you know, unproven, but should be pretty good volume for, you know, receiver 2 and 3 there. So that's pretty fun. Andrews at tight end. I like that. I like that team.
Yeah, the wide receiver 4 being Trey Harris worries me a little.
Sure.
Harris Mims, and obviously you got to knock him some taking Kyle Pitts, but yeah, I like it. My other one I liked was Dustin from the 3 spot. You got your boy AJ Brown. You got some strong wide receivers.
Yeah,
you got
3 nice receivers to go with Gibbs, Harvey, Nix.
Yeah. Similar thing of you're lacking a strong wide receiver 4, depending on how you think Coleman will actually work out, but a good depth of running back that you might be able to move in the season to get a wide receiver if you need it.
Yep. Yeah. 4 is solid too. You know, Lamb, Achane. If Achane ends up being healthy for week 1 or just okay by week 2, I love the Hampton pick. Hampton was 100% going to be my pick in round 3 if you made it with Najee's eye and just, I mean, Hampton's just got the the guy on the runway at the airport with those big flashlight stick things, just, green light, let's go, man. Hampton is just fucking ready to explode. So I like that to go with Achane, and he's got, went Lamb one, and he's got my boy DJ Moore, my boy Devontae Smith. So it's hard for me to not have a soft spot for that team like that. And so he's got it, above middle of the pack tight end. Baker, tore it up last year, 40+ touchdowns. So yeah, man. I mean, as per usual, we're drafting with a bunch of fucking maniacs like ourselves. So everybody knows what they're doing at this point. So I don't really dislike any of the teams.
Yep. Agreed.
All of these teams are so even and solid.
Yeah, this would be a fucking hell of a competitive league for sure.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah, we're getting to the point again. We're getting a lot of kickers, a lot of defenders. That's why I want to bring up that question of, let's look at some of the other teams and what really sticks out to us. Any stick out to you, Patrick?
I like your team. The Bijan, McConk, a lot of like my favorite players I always target. I love to leave every draft with your first. Like the only thing that kind of sucks is the McLaurin holdout. But aside from that, that's like a team that's near and dear to my heart. I would draft that like exact same team and be happy as could be.
Yeah, if McLaurin was your wide receiver 2, or even if you went similar to what D-Rock did, where McLaurin would be your wide receiver 1, like that's where you get really worried. It's McLaurin's not a pick for any team at that point. It's you got to have the right composition to pick that.
Yeah, everybody, even the auto team is pretty decent.
Yeah.
I know we're not supposed to pick our own team, but I'm smelling my own farts here. I'd be happy to like walk away from my my redraft league with this.
Yeah. It's when I was looking at it, I'm like, that's a lot of odd names thrown together, but it comes together as a good cohesive team.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty happy that I ended up taking Chuba kind of early as a third running back and just waiting on receiver a little bit more, because if I didn't take Chuba there, I'd be looking at Bucky Irving, Travion, and some real sketchy shit after that at running back. And as the volatile position in redraft, you don't want to have 2 guys and then hope and pray after that.
Yeah, that's a difficulty. 3 wide receiver PPR really heavily favors wide receiver, but you don't want to mess around waiting on running back this year. That's the one thing I've never done as many mock drafts as I have this off season, and that's what that has shown me is once you look past pretty much round 5, round 6, depending on how you think of Montgomery, you're looking at running backs you almost don't want as your running back 2. You want them as your running back 3s. So at this point, you really want to try and get 2 to sometimes 3 running backs in the first 5 rounds, which for me, as what I have done, is so difficult. Is I've never done that before. I've always go wide receiver, sometimes tight end, quarterback early. Is you with how the landscape is changing in Dynasty, even in this format, wide receiver heavy, leaving the first 5 rounds with 2 to 3 running backs is almost a necessity with the lack of depth after that 5th round.
It feels so gross when you're like, no matter how good of a draft you have, when you rely on, like, if you had Tyrone Tracy and Isaiah Pacheco, you almost feel like you're going to be in a struggle every week, and you'd have to hit on a waiver wire running back in the year that has a tremendous workload. It just feels awful to not have at least one bell cow.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess like just, looking at this for the exercise it was, I chose to push back wide receiver by taking Kittle early, by taking, 3 running backs in my first 5. And what I ended up with was Jefferson, Hunter, Pearsall, Shakir, Jaden Reed. Obviously not some award-winning room, but given what I was able to put around them, I'm perfectly happy with that. You mentioned it's a lot of volume, should be pretty safe floors for a lot of these guys. And if I get the boom out of Bucky and Travion, and Kittle performing like the tight end one that he is, super happy with this. Especially drafting against a bunch of knowledgeable sharks like you gentlemen and the rest of this group here. Definitely happy to walk away with this.
Yeah, it's one of those. You might be able to glean from this, have this up during your redraft league, and if it's not as competitive, you could say, like we probably 9 or 10 of the people in this draft, we've done a dozen redraft mock drafts over the last month or two. Mm-hmm. That if people aren't doing that as much, having this up while you're taking your draft to recognize, oh, this person's falling, to know where the value's at is definitely beneficial.
Yeah, man, it's always a fun exercise and just great. I love. I mean, as long as I've been playing personally, as long as we've been doing content with the page, I can't get enough of watching, CBS and South Harmon and these guys do mock drafts for redraft, because it's so helpful. And your home league, if it's anything like mine, you definitely have a couple jabronis that are showing up with magazines and just making weird picks. So the board's not going to look like this at my home draft. I'm going to end up walking away with a team that I like even substantially more than this in general. Now, winning it's a whole nother story. One of those guys with the fucking magazine is going to end up winning it like they do every other year. That's like, oh, I didn't know that this guy changed teams, and I'm over here doing 9 hours of research before I go to bed and recording podcasts and doing mocks with sharks. But somehow I'll get second or third place in that league again. But I'm always a pain in everybody's ass. I'm getting in the playoffs, guarantee that.
That's the way to do it. It's always the person with the magazine who accidentally takes Brian Robinson instead of Bijan Robinson for your in-person draft. They just see B Robinson and put it up there. And I've seen multiple videos and in-person drafts of that happening already this year, of someone coming away all excited with the 101 and, oh crap, they took Brian Robinson, and everyone's making fun of him. And well, damn it, they're going to get into the championship this year. They're going to luck in no matter what I do, but it's
and then they trade Brian Robinson to the Dallas Cowboys, and somehow he becomes the superstar centerpiece of that offense, and that guy fucking wins the title.
Or the 49ers and McCaffrey gets hurt.
Yeah, and now he's Kyle Shanahan.
Do that.
Yeah, Shanahan just makes him the running back 1 after week 3, and
just like the lady at your office that picks the perfect fucking college basketball bracket by picking cute colors and team names.
Yep.
Maybe we're doing it all wrong. That's how we need to play. Best uniforms, best jersey numbers. We don't need any of this.
Yeah.
We don't need to research.
Any teams you want to talk about before we call it good here? We talked about 3 or 4 already. Anything about your team or another team you want to point out, what you liked or wish did a little better?
I'm not liking my Garrett Wilson, Jaden Daniels 3-4 turn. I'm not loving it.
Who'd you wish you went there instead, looking at the picks around it?
Maybe Evans. I trust Baker more than Justin Fields, but is it the year that Evans falls off? He is in his 30s. He's ancient for football, ancient for fantasy. And then you got Justin Herbert in the 13th round, Zach. I mean, the difference between Daniels and Herbert isn't going to be that substantial, and feels like a big reach. The the rushing quarterback is a cheat code, but I don't know how much will Daniels run. I don't know.
That's the thing is Herbert doesn't have the rushing upside of Daniels, so you're hoping that Daniels gets you another 4 or 5 points a game just from the rushing upside. That's a risk you going quarterback that early first. Now, in a normal league, do I think Justin Herbert will make it to the 13th round? I think people will be picking up their quarterback twos much earlier than this, where I'd have to take him closer to that Benson range. But I'm still happy with him. That's one thing I've learned too is fading quarterback is not bad right now.
Yeah, I mean, like just looking at dissecting the top part of my draft where I punted receiver a little bit, I really don't regret it because, when I grabbed Bucky, I wasn't going to take A.J. Brown or Ladd because I already had Justin Jefferson locked up. When I took Kittle, I wasn't going to take Tyreek Hill or Marvin Harrison or, Garrett Wilson over Kittle. When it came back and I took Henderson, I wanted to lock up that, potential quarter stick of dynamite and, boom player for my running back too. I wasn't going to take Devontae Adams, or as much as I love DJ Moore, I wasn't going to take him over Henderson. And then when it came back to me, I was strongly considering Ridley or Pickens there, where I took Chuba, but like we've already talked about, Chuba was the last running back on the board that I was comfortable with as like a stable, steadying force there. So I really don't have any regret by punting, receiver there, so to speak, because even with a do-over, I don't think I would have done anything different with all those top 5 picks, the way it laid out.
You played the draft really well the way it went to you.
And that's picking in the middle. That's why I like a middle pick in any draft, whether it's dynasty or redraft. You don't have to reach as much. You can really just kind of let it come to you, see who's there, take who you like. When you're picking down at the ends, like you guys were doing, if you got a strong feeling about somebody, you have to reach. You have to pull the trigger. You're at 20-something picks coming before it gets back to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm happy. We talked a little. I'm happy with how mine went. I think I have my running back 2 secured between Connor and Benson, Charbonnet, and Hunt. I think I can piece together bye week guys. And I think Myers being my wide receiver 5 for flex, I think I really love it. Again, I think in a normal league, quarterback 2s are going much sooner. Like, I think how many teams took 2 quarterbacks? 2?
If that, yeah.
Yeah, I think in a normal league, over 50% of your people are taking 2 quarterbacks that I'd have to take Herbert earlier, maybe push back tight end or risk Benson falling. But I don't think I have too many regrets. Maybe Hampton instead of Higgins in the 3rd round would have been nice to have that better running back 2, and maybe taking then McMillan in the 4th instead of Connor or Devonta Smith or something there. But I mean, I took a little risk at wide receiver there, but I think the depth is going to make it up for me.
You're contractually obligated to take the most wide receivers. You know that, right?
Right. So here's why no one needs to take a second quarterback in this year's redraft single quarterback league. I just pulled up the remaining quarterbacks. So these quarterbacks are now on waivers. Stroud, Caleb Williams, Justin Fields, Jordan Love, Trevor Lawrence, Cam Ward, Michael Penix, Tua, Bryce Young, Stafford, Darnold, Geno, A-Rod. Like they're all just sitting on waivers at this point, even with, a couple teams taking a second quarterback. So shit, man. Dak was literally the last. I took him right before my kicker in defense, and Dak Prescott could easily be top 5, top 7 quarterback. Well, it doesn't matter what format, but he could easily do that. Because again, I think the Cowboys are going to have to throw the shit out of the ball this year. He's got added weapons. He's healthy. So, yeah, fucking man, I don't know if I've ever seen a better year to punt quarterback or late round QB or wait on QB.
Sure.
Been in vogue for years now. But I mean, this with this current quarterback grouping, it's like Jesus, dude. I mean, look at what's going to sit on waivers in this imaginary league starting week 1.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, There's 30 teams that have a sound quarterback room.
We leave it out. Saints and Colts are the two that don't.
That's exactly the two that came to mind. Yep. My goodness. Yep. Colts have 2 former top 10 overall picks at quarterback, and they both kind of suck.
True story.
True story.
Any last comments or remarks?
Nah, man. I think we did a pretty clean draft here. I was just looking at the other guys that are technically going to be like free agents. Here you go. Tight end, my favorite thing to wait on, even though I went Kittle here. Sitting on waivers here, and there's multiple teams that took 2 tight ends. We've got Zach Ertz, Hunter Henry, Isaiah Likely, Brenton Strange, Mason Taylor, Freiermuth, Chig, Gesicki, Waller, Arroyo, K-Dot, Dalton Schultz, Tavian Sanders, so Terrence Ferguson, who could end up being the guy there for the Rams. So another position where unless you're getting one of those top-end guys, every single one of these guys could easily fill in for your, Jake Ferguson's and, lower-end tight end ones. So, I mean, I've legit walked away from a redraft before without taking a tight end. Just taking extra skill players and worrying about that shit like the Sunday morning of week 1 and just grabbing a Mike Gesicki or Freiermuth or Chig or whatever the case. So, easy to wait on that. Zach Ertz is interesting to me. Zach Ertz could easily be, especially if Terry ends up holding out or whatever the case, not being 100%. I mean, Zach Ertz could have 11 targets week 1.
Yep. Very true.
Yeah, man.
And again, thanks for everyone staying up late, joining us, doing this mock draft. We'll be talking about rookies, our hot takes of the year, what you need to know coming out of camp and the preseason games coming the next 2 weeks before season starts, which, again, is fast upon us.
Can't wait.
As of the recording, NFL football is exactly 2 weeks away because this is Thursday night.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you for joining in.
Cheers,
everyone.